which makes it seem like there's a ton of furries and that you're not weird for wanting to be a furry. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm not like a minority on this. There's tons of people. No, you're still a very small percentage of people that like enjoy getting dressed up as animals and licking your genitals. I don't know how. I'm sure that's what they do.
Not licking my own genitals.
And just everyone's confused as to why we're licking our genitals.
Why I'm yelling about why I can't?
Yeah. Oh wait, this is great. Let's start from here. Let's kick off the podcast.
Gamertag.
Hey, what's up? I'm Scardo46, and welcome to this episode of Gamertag, where we talk about the names we choose, the stories behind them, and the identities we build through games, content, and community. This week, Martha Maple and I sit down with L21saac, a creator who's been through it all, from bombing on stage to building one of the chillest late-night Twitch communities out there. We get into his origin story, the L2 crew, and how he's grown from RuneScape roots to who he is now. Creator, storyteller, and certified night owl. Let's get into it. Well, hey man, why don't we just get to know you a little?
Yeah, tell us about the time before you became L21saac.
Okay.
L2 Isaac?
L21saac. One Sack, Big Sack, Huncho. I got a couple names online.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I guess my story, not going all the way back, but pivoting into content creation and gaming, was I've always been somebody to always have a hobby on the side, no matter what I was doing. I really enjoy just always having something else on the go. I think the traditional life where you went to school or you have a job and then that's all you live or breathe is very sad. Like hobbies are great, whether it's gaming itself, art, sports, whatever you're into. It's always good to have a third space. I've always loved comedy, and I started doing stand-up comedy for about a year. I didn't do anything too crazy. I had a couple like main performances at local bars here and actually one comedy club, which was great. So I had about 11 or 12 shows before COVID hit. I've always really enjoyed just putting a smile on somebody's face and being a bit of a dick. But because COVID, there was no bars, there was no events, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I feel like it was almost a waste of my potential. So during COVID, while I was rutting and just finishing up university and pivoting to a full-time job, my hobby was gaming. I'd gamed when I was younger, but it was mostly like Nintendo stuff, Wii, GameCube, whatever. I really enjoyed those games. But because I was 21 and all my friends had like PlayStations or PCs, the game at the time was Warzone. So after our full day of working, whatever we did, all of my friends every night would hop on the game around 8 or 9 o'clock. And my friends we would just clip stuff and send to each other over, I think it was text at the time, because we didn't even have Discord. My friends weren't gamers. We were just playing the game. We were getting pretty good at gaming. I think everyone was during COVID, obviously, but we were getting pretty good. And like, hey, why don't we just start like streaming these things? So we love watching or sending clips of him to Tatman back and forth. And Nick Merckx, whoever was big at the time for Call of Duty. And we're like, we can start doing stuff like this. And I started streaming and posting these clips. They were getting great feedback, but it wasn't my goal to be a content creator or a streamer at this time. We were just streaming to like just our friends, 5, 10 people maybe. And I was realizing my videos weren't getting tons of views. It wasn't my goal at the time, but because I'm such a person that I don't like mediocrity, if I'm doing something with intention, it has to be great. So this hobby turned into something that I was like passionate about all of a sudden. And I started posting TikToks. And that kind of was what the intro was to my content creation journey.
I think it's super awesome that you did a bunch. Like your point about trying a bunch of different hobbies is so cool. What was it like performing stand-up comedy in front of people?
It's a very unique experience, and I actually don't know if it's one of the healthiest things. It's really hard to be a stand-up comedian. It takes insane social skills, confidence, and you have to learn. You have to know people inside and out. To get these jokes to land, you have to make sure that they're universal enough that you will get some laughs, but also blanket jokes or universal jokes, they don't produce enough laughter. They don't produce enough like entertainment values. And the only reason I kept going with it is because I realized I was good at what I was doing. And when I would go to these amateur nights and stuff, these guys who have been doing it for 3-4 years sucked. The scene that I was in, the niche that I was in, this is a very easy way to excel to the top. Because I'm so competitive and I have a bit of an ego, I was like, I'm going to be the best in the local scene.
You spend a lot of time like writing your content, or it's just like you wrote some bullet points, you knew the parts you wanted to hit, but like how much time did you spend writing jokes?
It's the same way now with streaming. Whenever I think of a funny bit, I write it down. And then I would do like brainstorming sessions properly. So throughout the week, I think I was just taking notes and jots and whatever came to mind. And then I did about an hour or two on a Friday before the show. Because there were Thursdays and Fridays depending on the day or the week, whatever. But yeah, I would take an hour or two before the show and try to create a bit of a set. And it was really just a trial and error. It took about 7 or 8 shows before I had a 5-minute set that was good start to finish for the majority of audiences. But keep in mind, it's significantly more demotivating to bomb a show than it is to have a video fail online or fail by whatever your standards are. I'm somebody with fairly good mental health, never struggled with any sort of like depression or any severe mental health issues. I've always had up and downs like everyone else does. And there's times that are low and there's times that are great, but it's not like an overall issue for me.
Yeah.
The one time I actually bombed a show, it was like it was my second time headlining. So it was a 15-minute set. And for the first 3.5 minutes, like nobody laughed. And
holy shit.
No, it was like, do I get off stage?
Yeah.
And I remember like around 5.5, 7 minutes, I had like got some chuckles going, but I ended up just saying my time was up, even though they didn't know my time was up. But like in general, like my time, people knew my time wasn't up. I got off. I remember like never wanting to do it again. And the thing is, that set had worked and crushed the week before.
Yeah.
So it was such a weird thing. And that was, I think actually, I've told this story many times. That was like my lowest low point in life. There's gonna be crazy things that happen in your life. That was the lowest point I've ever been in, bro.
That's so valid. You're there to entertain a crowd and like they're not giving you the energy that you need. You said that it was like your second show, right?
It was my second headlining show, which I was like shocked because I'd done the first set. Like I was lucky enough to get a first headlining show, which no one ever does, being that much of a rookie. But I was funny enough, they gave it to me and I killed it. Oh my God, you're gonna headline for every Friday until this doesn't work anymore. And I was like, this is great. Because it's a smaller comedy. It's the only place where I used to live that did comedy, like an actual comedy hut. But yeah, man, I was the lowest low I've ever felt. I actually had genuine like suicidal ideation in that moment because I've never been so disliked by a large group of people all at once in my life. I've always been a pretty agreeable person. Like whether it was in high school, you have friends, you don't make any enemies. I felt like public enemy number 1 for some reason. I don't know why it let it get to me that bad, but I was like, wow, this was the worst.
But you went back and did it again, right?
I did 2 more times after.
So how did you get yourself to put yourself out there again like that?
My friends convinced me. I had a very strong support network. The thing is, I lost that passion that moment. Like that moment where it happened, like a part of me died. The next 2 sets weren't terrible, but I just never wanted to feel like that ever again.
Yeah, because you're up there vulnerable, trying to engage people, and like everyone's looking at you, right? And then like you get no response. Yeah, that's brutal, dude.
It sounds dramatic. Trust me, like saying this back in hindsight, I feel like I sound like a diva. Like I sound dramatic as fuck for this, but
no, that's so valid.
It's genuinely like it haunts me to this day. I'll never forget it, which is why I think I hold myself to such high standards when it comes to my content now. If I post a video, it must do like at least 20,000 views across all platforms to keep it up, or I just take them down. Because to me, that's not enough. That wasn't good enough.
Do you feel like that moment was like?
Do you do that? Do you post videos and then take them down?
Yeah, all the time. Because the mindset is if no one saw it, no one saw it. Like obviously, everyone has their own scales when you're a content creator, but to me, nobody seeing a video is sub 20,000 collective views across my platforms. I'll just take it down. Then I'll re-edit it and I'll repost it in a way that I think might be more engaging. It's one of those things that I had to learn as a content creator to just do.
So do you feel like that moment was like such a catalyzing force for like young Isaac that like it like changed how you looked at the world and looked at yourself?
It did, but not in the way that I think you might be thinking. I learned in that moment to take things significantly less seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a really eye-opening experience to how to understand criticism and then to also just learn that not everyone's going to like you, which has played a very awesome role in my job as a content creator, especially one who walks into a gray area with their content.
It also taught you a lot about people, man, wanting to do shows like that. And that's who consumes your content. That's who consumes or wants to be part of your community. So
I think of it now like that crowd who didn't boo me, but nothing came of them was like Twitter. That crowd to me is Twitter, and the crowd who liked me was TikTok. Twitter is a more hateful place of people who are just more grumpy and don't understand comedy or they're more ridicule, and TikTok's more like brain damage. Like they're always like 2 or 3 beers in, just having a good scroll. How that was a good little chuckle.
What was gaming like when you were younger? Like, it was just a hobby, just a thing you did, just hanging
It
out.
was just a
like,
hobby. I came from a very strict childhood, which is a whole thing to dive into. But yeah, I just wasn't allowed to play much video games. I got in with some Nintendo and stuff that my parents let me do after I did my homework or my sports, which was actually very limited. I just didn't have much time. So I played on the weekends. I got really into RuneScape in middle school and high school, which was great because I can connect with people outside of my house. It was my first online game that wasn't on the console. So it was nice to play with one of my cousins, and obviously you meet people online. So to me, my most like fond nostalgic memories of games is like playing some of those good old Nintendo games for the first time, like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, or like the solo playthrough games like Mario Galaxy. Like, that game resonates with me. Like I love those games. And like RuneScape. Like those games are just very comforting to hear and to think about. To me, that's what I grew up on.
What was it about RuneScape that pulled you in initially?
I don't know. I'm starting to think it was like what got me to play the game was my cousin being like, yo, RuneScape's great, let's play it. And I think the aspect of the solo leveling aspect of it, where it's just like all grind and you get rewarded for it, was so ingrained in me through just the system that we live, especially with my parents like always wanting me to do more homework and more. And obviously
Mhm.
I was praised highly for good grades or good performances. So that to me was RuneScape. You chop wood for 10 hours and you get wood cutting levels. In hindsight, wood cutting was probably the worst thing on the planet because I didn't do anything else. Like people now, like they'll play other games or they'll read and woodcut. Like for anyone who plays RuneScape gets this. It's like a monotonous task. It's click the tree, wait a minute, you'll get the logs. Click the next tree, wait a minute, you'll get the logs. It's terrible. No one has the attention span for that shit anymore. But I loved it. I don't know why.
I can understand why, if you had such high standards for yourself and high standards put on you by your parents, chopping wood and clicking and waiting for the logs to appear was
It might have been my
it
form of
was
like decompression and meditation at the age of like 16 years
yeah.
old. It might have
Yeah,
been why
dude.
it clicked in my brain. Yeah.
Dude, I have hard days at work and I come home and I play a power wash simulator and I just zone out for hours. It's amazing. You just turn brain off.
I've seen people play that game recently, and I kind of want to jump into it too,
Dude,
for
it's so
different reasons
good.
now. Just because, like, I find it's a very nice game you could chill and talk over.
Yeah.
But yeah,
at that time of RuneScape, like it's the early part of the internet, really, right? 'Cause MMOs aren't really a thing. Do you think it was also like meeting people and like engaging with different people on the web? Was that a kind of part of that too, or was that not your vibe? You were just purely
it,
chopping wood.
it probably had something to do with it.
Let's talk about the origin of L21saac, which is your gamer
Perfect.
tag.
It ties
So-
into RuneScape too, so that's good.
Yeah. So let's walk through that.
This will relate back at some point. Do you know the current like meta for content? What people have been really doing? Do you know what rage bait is, Scardo?
No, bro.
So the L21saac, my name on RuneScape was just like, it was some other name for a bit, but then I changed it to 1saac at some point because Isaac was taken, but I was 1SAAC. That was my name. Then my cousin, who was also playing RuneScape, and keep in mind, I know I said I didn't have much time to play video games earlier on, but that was like throughout earlier schools, like grade schools. My parents like more like regularly monitored me, and then as I became more of like a teen, I had a lot more free time. I had my own job, and I was like able to manage my own time. They gave me more freedoms, so I was grinding RuneScape, and at one point I don't know what the ranking systems would be for RuneScape, but I was a very acknowledged player in the servers because I had like very high stats because I had been playing it since it got released, basically till at that current time. So when clans came out or whatever I think they're called clans, my cousin and myself, amongst other very skilled people in the game, created a clan. And I forget what the clan's name was, but basically because there was no like wiki guides yet, or they weren't complete, or the internet's like forming, right? So you can't just search up like how to complete this quest or
Right.
how to whatever. You have to quite literally ask people how to do stuff. And because we were a group of people that you could find or whatever with the tag that were high skilled, people would spam us with questions all the time about everything. So at some point, we just came up with a response, just learn to do it. So they'd be like, how do I complete Monkey Madness, the quest? And I'm like, oh, you got to learn how to complete it.
So
How do you L2?
Yeah, you
is
would
what
have
it-
pissed me off.
Yeah. How do you kill the King Scorpion? Just learn to do it. Because we at some point got tired of answering questions because we want to play the game too. No one's maxed out yet. There's still tons of stuff to do. It was like one of the first open world games ever. There was tons of shit to do in that game. So we want to play. And yeah, that became our response. So thus formed L21saac. Now, I didn't have this name until I started making content. I was going to go by 1saac or Isaac, but it was taken. So when I was like brainstorming like 5 years ago, I was like, this is something that I used to go by. And currently I was playing Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, and Fortnite, there was all this controller versus mouse and keyboard like turmoil, and you had to pick what side you're on. And there was big issues with aim assist and how people would spam the L2 trigger to give you free, basically aim assist or free aimbot. And it was pretty bad for some games, but some games it was just cope. Regardless, I was like, wow, this is perfect time to implement L2 Isaac. I got trolled for it a fuck ton when I first started streaming, but now no one cares about that stuff. And I also don't play games where like people use a controller anymore, so it's not haunting me anymore. But yeah, that's the origin and then why I chose it.
Dude, that's awesome. Why have you never made, like we were talking about brands earlier, why have you never made a brand around L2? L2 anything. So you said you just learned to do it. Like, why not make that brand? Cool. That'd be freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah, it became kind of part of the persona. L2 crew is what like I call my supporters. Yeah. And we've made some merch, some actually really cool merch. And you can join my Discord. It's a community server that are brought together by me, but it's not about me. You know what I mean? It's now people who came there because they think they like my content, but my content is also for a specific group of people. But not a minority by any means, but it kind of filters out the unsocialized, because we make jokes that we understand are jokes, but if you don't understand their jokes, you might take offense to them. And that is you're okay to do that. I get it. And I've learned to understand that, like, I used to fight back a lot, especially when I was in my early 20s. I'd be like, just grow up. Like, obviously it's such a fucking joke. I've become so much more empathetic as of the last 2 years, where I'm like, you know what? No, like, you're allowed to be offended by this. But then they just don't interact with me, because I'm going to continue this way because I think it's funny. And I understand why you don't think it's funny, but also I don't think this should be a point of major contention. This should just be you don't think it's funny, I think it's funny, let's move on together as human beings, instead of a fight over this conversation. But that's just human nature.
Totally, dude. I love your perspective. And I think you're right. I think, one, it's cool that you recognize everyone's came here because they were into your content and into you, but it's not, you made a space for people who were into the same stuff you're into. If they vibe with what you got, cool. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, and to bring it back to your point about the whole brand or whatever, I function very impulsively. So I haven't had an idea land in my brain yet where I'm like, L2 blank or learn to blank. Yeah, this would be fantastic. Maybe I make a guide like the Learn to Academy. Nothing's ever come to me that I've been like, I can execute this right now. So that's why it's never really been a thing. I just have L2. It's just part of it. I've gotten tons of names online through the past. People call me L21 Isaac, and I'm like, how did you do that? There's literally not enough letters there. Actually, that's the most common thing I get is L21 Isaac, and I'm like, okay, sure, it's fine. L21saac's great for people who can't like infer things. I think that one's funny. I had a Spanish guy call me L21saac, which is hilarious because if you spell that out, it's like just unnecessarily long.
But yeah, he spelled it out.
If you do spell it out in Spanish, it's like ELJUAN, like Juan Sac. It's just like a whole thing, which was funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it is L2 Isaac.
That's the only way I'm going to talk to you from now on, is if I can call you L21saac, if that's cool with you.
That's fine with me.
Okay. I'm just going to keep calling you 1saac.
Yeah.
1saac's fine. There's tons of it. I'm cool with whatever. As long as I'm recognizable to somebody by something, which was part of my struggle early on, actually, with the name. I found that I wasn't very search engineable. And that was a big struggle. I was looking at the guys like Nick Merckx. Oh, Nick Merckx. Okay, Tim the Tatman. Okay, Cloak Z. Like these things stick. Like they're just words you can remember, versus someone looking up L21saac. And it taught me a lot about brand recognition. And in hindsight, I would have liked to be a different brand. I would have loved to change my name. I don't think it's ever going to be a good time to, but I would love to be more easily recognizable. But unfortunately, I've been with this for so long now. And if I did change it, it would do more harm than it could ever do good, because I'm now L21saac. So
have you ever, can I ask you like a really personal question?
Of course, man. Everything's on the table today, except for anything super political, because I don't like to share that. I just don't like to talk about it.
Damn it. No, I'm just kidding.
We're all furries, so it's fine. There's no politics being furries. Look, so what I'm curious,
it's like furry rule number 13. No politics between furries. No politics.
Yeah, there's no end. That's all. What does it say? What do they say? Everyone's an animal in the jungle or something.
Listen, I don't go to the conventions. You gotta tell me what they do.
Okay. What was your name? What was your name again?
You said that you would change your name. You ever thought about what you would change it to?
So Not in depth properly, like, this won't be a good bit for you to include, but just because now I'm at L21saac, so I've always thought of just changing back to just to be Sack or have something along the lines of people know me as Huncho now because I changed my Valorant tag to that for the longest time.
Yeah.
Or having something like my IRL TikTok is Isaac Offline. So having something along the lines of something Isaac, or there's a lot of people that have like random tags in their name. I wouldn't do this personally, but stuff like Isaac was AFK or whatever people do, Isaac was taken or some whatever people do. Like not those ones because those are like generic and terrible, but something like that probably. If you'd
You
asked me
wouldn't
5
do
years
like
ago,
an
I'd probably
is killed by Isaac. Like
yeah, not like that. I'm too old for that shit now. I need to have more of a neutral name where it's not just FPS related.
Yeah, no, I get it, dude. I'm not asking like so we can include it in the show. I'm curious like where your head's at, and what when I hear you say that, I hear you say, "Hey, man, it would have been easier to unify the brand."
Algorithm performing names, things that are easy to remember, things that are
Yeah.
more just yeah. So I would have wished I changed it, but I've done well
More
with this
unique
now.
to
And
like to search.
yeah, it's search engine friendly is what I was looking for. Algorithm friendly, basically. Because when you look up, or in the early days of TikTok, when people try to search for my videos, they were getting misdirected a lot. Or like the common search under my video was like how to spell the name, or it was very wrong. So yeah, it caused some issues early on. But now at this point, like if you search, I've done a good job. But if you search anything related to my name, it comes up if you spell it wrong. So I'm happy now. But back in the day, would have been nicer.
Yeah. No, I get it. I super get it.
So you landed on L21saac, L2 Isaac. At what point did you decide, yeah, that's the name I'm going to go with as I'm starting my Twitch stream, as I'm trying to make something out of this, versus anything else that you had before, or maybe workshopped?
As an impulsive person, I did it in about 24 hours. I was trying to do this all, and I decided I'm gonna be a streamer whenever I decided that moment, whenever posting content. So I was like, hey, we need to start doing streamer things. Made a Twitch profile. I started making early logos just myself. And I had a girlfriend at the time who was very supportive of the initial journey of content creation, that it was a cool hobby that I wanted to do. And we made a graphic together. We brainstormed and then we landed on it pretty much within one night. And we made all the graphics and logo, the early stuff in the one night, and then just put it everywhere. And we started the next day.
That's
So when you first,
crazy.
it's super crazy. When you first started, what kind of games were you playing? Like when you were first starting out in like the learning journey?
I've always played mainstream games to generate content. One, because that's what my friends were playing and what I could play with them. So Call of Duty and Fortnite particularly were the two games I had first started out playing. And then once I got a hang for online gaming with a computer, and I was now open up to the world of online gaming, you can't play Valorant, you can't do certain things on a console. So yeah, it was Fortnite and Call of Duty, and then I pivoted into Valorant when it got released, pretty much right away. Not the beta, but once it became the alpha or whatever got released, I jumped on that game because all my friends jumped on it. So I started playing what they played.
And then Val was your game like ever since, right?
Yeah, I had a certain liking to it right away, and then I've played other games. I played Call of Duty. I played Fortnite. I played Fortnite semi. Well, I have earnings on Fortnite. It's the cringiest thing to say, but I played it like very good, at a very high level. And Valorant was the next game that I found that I could compete in at a decently high level, like pretty fast. I have an unfortunately addictive personality, so I play Valorant and TFT like religiously.
Hey, Scardo46 here, taking a quick break for some real talk. We spend a lot of time on this show talking about identity, how it shifts, how we build it, and how sometimes it's the thing that holds us together. I've been there, completely burned out, showing up like everything was fine while I was quietly falling apart. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't even know if I was allowed to. But games were there, not just to distract me, but to give me the space to breathe, to just be. That's why mental health matters so much to me, and it's why we're proud to spotlight Take This. They're a nonprofit doing real work to make the gaming world safer, more human, and more sustainable for players, for creators, and for everyone in between. They're behind the AFK rooms at conventions. They publish resources on burnout, community health, studio culture, and they actually get it. One of the coolest things they're doing right now is the Accelerate program. It's a 6-month mentorship experience for early career creatives in games and mental health. You get paired up with industry pros, dive into workshops, and connect with the whole community of folks trying to build something better. Season 2 is about to kick off, and it's such a smart, supportive way to level up, not just professionally, but personally too. So if you're listening to this and you've been trying to figure out where you fit in the industry or how to keep going, start here. visit takethis.org or head straight to takethis.org/donate to support the work they're doing. We're so grateful to Take This for being part of this with us. And now, back to this episode of Gamertagged.
When you first started streaming, you said that you like decided within 24 hours and you and your girlfriend like figured this shit out and you just went for it. When you first started, like how serious were you trying to grind being like a content creator? And what was your goal with it? Were you trying to build something or were you just trying to like chill and hang out?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Once I decided I wanted to be a content creator, I just took it very seriously. About a year after I started streaming is when I really like had found my rhythm and started just going. But for the first year, it was a lot of learning. It was learning how to navigate online. It was learning how the algorithms work. It was learning how to make an entertaining video. Like 5 years later now, I have a system for everything. It's my first time hiring an editor now too. So now I have a system. But early on, I was all about learning these things. How do videos go viral? Why do people watch Twitch streams? Anything like that. So studying creators, just honestly, even trial and error with videos was like super important. And also keep up with metas. Like when people are first posting clips on TikTok of gaming, now people do like cuts, sound effects, and just as much. Now it's just dopamine spamming, right? Learning how we've adapted alongside short form content because now that leads the world. TikTok, Instagram Reels, Twitter feed, all that kind of stuff like drives content versus back in the early internet stages is mostly like long form in YouTube when we had longer attention spans. And yeah, short form does rule the world right now.
How soon after you first started going live did you start making videos? Was that like immediately after?
It was right away. I decided I wanted to do
Wow.
content creation, and so I needed to start making content. Otherwise, I'm just a
Damn.
creation. So it's and
Yeah.
I started like everyone else, or like most people do. I started to myself and my phone. Then I started to a couple of my friends. Then I started with the few people that came in from my TikTok. Oh, I love your videos, and then they watched their streams. Then I started snowballing. You just as long as you're consistent, like as long as you're consistent, getting to 100K views a video and getting to about 100 average viewers on Twitch will happen to anybody who produces somewhat decent content consistently.
So, what advice would you give yourself, like young Isaac, starting
Mhm.
out? What advice, like knowing what you know today, would you give young Isaac about this profession, this field, all the things you've learned?
I would have said to whole ass it even more, probably quit my job. And if I had the knowledge I had now, which is obviously impossible, but if I would have just said fully go for it and just send it all, it's the same thing with anything that's brand new and emerging. When you get in early, you have the best chance of succeeding with it. Anyone who jumped in super early in content now that I looked up to have either quit it and are done, or if they've succeeded into the unexplainable levels of success. And I had waves where I got so busy with my real life or things happened or I got unmotivated where I lost the momentum.
So, yeah, when it's new, like it's easier for you to like, jump in and try some stuff. I think that's great advice. But you're also saying don't be afraid, like you're just send it. So,
Just send it. And people who are smart enough, like they'll recognize opportunity. Like when the next whatever it's gonna be comes, the people who are ready will jump in on it. I think right now we're seeing a huge emergence in IRL streams, people who are going on IRL dates together, people who they're building mass audiences very fast of parasocial viewers who are very inclined to like that kind of content. But it's basically catering and feeding off of an audience that already doesn't have much as far as like global standards go.
Enrichment.
And yeah, it's giving them something which is maybe a good thing. Like maybe they need the entertainment value, but like I just feel like it's really preying on people in a bad situation. Which
yeah, it's just different types of content, right?
it is.
You have my wife loves trash TV,
Oh, that's
and
actually a good point. Yeah.
we watch a lot of trash TV, and it's effectively the same thing. You're just making that on in a short.
You know what? That's actually a very valid point. I really appreciate that take on it.
What's interesting though is so when you first started talking about being early on a platform, I had a question and then you started talking about the origin of what I wanted to ask you about. Are you at the age where you remember when Twitch was Justin TV and when iJustine was like the thing on Justin TV and it was just watching her live her life?
I've heard about this kind of stuff, but I unfortunately never was a part of Twitch until I started streaming. I didn't watch any live streams. I didn't do anything. I just consumed like the short form content, but I never knew anything about Twitch until I started streaming 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
So we started talking about your origin and like you talked about success. And what I kind of want to talk about is you're on this Valorant grind, right? And L21 Isaac, or sorry, L2 Isaac is starting to grow. So can you tell us about the first time you went viral and what that success felt like? And then like a clip that you hope would go viral and maybe didn't. What was that time period like for you? Because like when you're describing, hey, 20,000 views, there are people who would love to have 20,000 views.
Of
Right?
course.
But like your expectations were set really like focused on your own goals. So what was that first time like? Maybe some that you thought would work out but didn't.
Yeah, I think I can answer this. When I first started content, I was making just like one-off bits, whether it was funny clips or some sort of skits, whatever it was, and they would do okay. My first viral content, I got lucky. It was a series that I had planned, which is called The Guide to Gold in Valorant. It's an 11-part series of like tips and tricks on how to get good at Valorant. And it did great. And then right after that, I didn't know what else to do anymore because these series did great. So I tried other series. Some did well, some didn't, but it helped me understand virality. I would categorize this as like a clickbait video because it's like it's nonsensical. There's no story, there's no real story to it, but it's just like a glitch that happened that was funny and it got a lot of engagement. And so that was my first outside of series, like ones that were like continuing series of videos. Those are my first videos that actually I think became my staple content. My whiff compilations, my failed flashes compilations, those ones that would get maybe a couple million views across all the platforms. Those to me were like my staple viral videos, and that's what I was known for. But now people are tired of seeing them. But last week I've been adding more and more nuance to the videos, like I'll handle this or I'll take care of this. And it's a bunch of clips of me being like, I'll handle this, and then not handling it. So I thought there was like another level I could add to these like lowlights, and it did extremely fucking poorly, like unbelievably fucking poorly. And I still don't know why it did poorly. I've tried re-editing it and re-uploading it. I don't know what's going on. Video's not going great. I thought that was my next viral video versus the one like yesterday that I posted. I thought I'd get a couple guys be like, yeah, it's a funny little glitch. And it'd be like one of those like spam posts that would just like fill and would do okay. It would get 20K to 100K views and be like, okay. But to have, I think it's at 300 across all my platforms in 24 hours. I was like, okay, sure. That did way better than I expected. So sometimes it is just a hit and miss thing. Like you might think it's great, but people don't. And you might think it's not, but people do.
Yeah. I guess what I, as a follow up to that question, do you feel like you create the pressure for yourself? Like success, right? Success creates pressure, right? Do you feel like you create the pressure for yourself and your own expectations?
I think if you take it as like if you can use like a parallel example to something that's maybe not content creation, because people who aren't in content creation don't take content creation seriously, but let's treat it like a sports team. Let's say it's boxing and you're professional. No one wants to be a professional boxer who's 0-64. You want to be a professional boxer has a very good record. So that's kind of the same thing for me with videos hitting. Is it's not terrible when a video doesn't do good, but I did burn 3 or 4 hours of my time on it, or however long I did. And obviously, if I want to succeed, I need to do good videos. So the pressure of not wasting my time, the pressure of actually wanting to succeed is what drives me. I really enjoy people getting a laugh. I really enjoy people liking me because I gave them something positive in their day. So when a video doesn't do well, I didn't achieve that. And then I don't get my validation. I don't get my spark from that.
From what I've seen of your journey and from you hinted at it in what you just said, I feel like you are somebody that is heavily motivated, not only by succeeding and, like you said, not wasting your time and like making sure you're making something out of the time that you're putting into this, but it also seems like you're very motivated by your connections that you're making and the community that you're creating.
Yeah, I think I'm very lucky not even lucky. It's obviously all my life experiences come up to this point, but I've gotten to create connections with some very influential people, some of the biggest content creators in North America. But I think it's just interesting to see how all these other skills from other fields and just being sociable has really benefited me. I've gotten to meet very cool people, make videos of very cool people, just based on personal interaction with them.
Yeah. Okay. We're in the middle of this conversation, like talking about your connections. And so like communities often mirror their creator. So in your chat, right? What's the emotional architecture? What makes it feel distinct that it's like the L2 crew?
I actually am here to counter your question. I hear it all the time that people say the creator defines his community or the chat reflects the streamer.
Yeah.
I don't think so. In a way, I
Okay.
think that to its extreme analogy, if there's a cat streaming and a dog streaming, but
Okay.
the audience or the available pool of audience is
Is this-
99% cats.
Is this the Midwest Fur Fest? Sorry.
No, I mean, so Sylvester
It's the lead
Stallone
up
streaming,
to
right? There's Sylvester Stallone and there's Danny the dog. But the
Oh, yeah.
audience pool of availability is 99 cats, 1 dog. Does it mean that, and they have to share the audience 50-50, does it mean that the dog streamer, that the cat's like the dog streamer, or that's all that's available in the community? What I'm trying to say is, I think there's not that many fantastic people online, or at least normalized. Like
Yeah.
a lot of, we're talking about this online world, but there's a enormous population that just doesn't interact online, and those are typically the more like socialized, normal people.
Sure,
So
yeah.
I think that a lot of the audience is skewed to be a little socially inept. They're not terrible people by any means, but they're on the internet for extended periods of time a day for a reason. And you have to be very understanding of that.
Yeah. To your analogy, you're saying that it could be possible that, sorry, who's streaming? Sylvester Stallone is
Sylvester
streaming?
Stallone and Danny the dog.
Got it. It could be possible that the chat full of cats, I think is the analogy you used, right? Or dogs. Okay.
There's cats.
That the cats are
Only one
here-
dog.
Okay. That the cats are here because they're all united against how they feel about Danny the dog, and not so much that they're into wanting to emulate or be around Sylvester Stallone. It's totally possible that the community could just form irregardless of the streamer and their perspective.
In my opinion, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
what makes my chatting community unique is I actually have a little bit of an older audience in general. It tends to be people who are on their late shift work. Maybe they're a security guard. I have a lot of stay-at-home moms. I have a lot of people in university studying late. So I'm also an evening to nighttime streamer. So I have an older audience. So I'm lucky that way, where I actually think I have a lot of really good people with a really good head on their shoulders, just looking for some sort of background noise to kill the time. And also maybe looking for a bit of intimate connection or a little bit of just recognition, as I'm a human being that is in the shadows of the rest of the world, but I still exist. And I just, by the current situation of it is, I am where I am, but they have a bit more of a head on their shoulders. I notice when I stream on the weekends or when I collab with certain friends who are daytime streamers, or even just they maybe cater to kids in their audience, not like PG, but they just do dumb shit. Those chats are where I find it's just more annoying to me. But like I could never stream to that community, but I'm glad that they have some place to go. You know what I mean? I have quite a bit of life experience, and I feel always comfortable sharing my true and honest opinion with somebody. So that's where I like my audience is more catered to. Now, do I say crazy stuff and do we get stupid all the time? All the time. But I want people understand now there's like a fine balance of, if Isaac's being serious, it's time to be serious. If he's joking around, let's joke around. My audience is very well socially adapted and they're very well coded to knowing these things.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, how do you balance your life and your content creation and do a full-time job? Like, how the hell do you do that?
And you have a social life.
It's a bit of a mental disorder. I'm actually very happy that I'm a very high function. I've never been diagnosed, keep in mind. I think it's all a little ridiculous. I think the spectrum of everything is fantastic, unless you're on the extremes. When you're on the extremes of depression or ADHD or anything that's so commonly thrown around these days, it's very hard to manage as a human being, and medication is the only way through it, because it is a real disorder. But everyone's somewhere on this spectrum. And when I was in middle school, I was in the gifted program, whatever. I got taken out of classes to get tested for autism, whatever. And whatever I have, I'm extremely high functioning with it. And I've learned how to cope with all the bad stuff just through my own self-reflection. Whatever I have. And I'm just a very high functioning person, but I have a stress disorder confirmed, like where I function very off cortisol and a lot. I'm a very stressed person, very high anxiety, but that keeps me going all the time. And the only issue I have with my life is I don't sleep. I pass out basically, which is I still sleep, obviously. It's just my way of saying like I only go to bed when I'm just exhausted. But I
Yeah.
have to wake up when I wake up every day. So I do min max. And it's not the healthiest thing, but I just min max my days because I know that I need to do the most I can every day to make those around me happy, to make myself happy. And then that's about it, man. I also have
Man.
been single for a very long time, about 3 years now, and or 3 or 4 years, 3 years, I think. But I've tried dating, but I've also realized like I haven't met the right person, which is fine.
Yeah.
Secondly, I actually, as of the last year or so, I don't think I actually want to be in a relationship anymore because I met someone very fantastic last summer and I had to have a very real conversation, a very adult conversation with them where I told them, like, you are great, but for some reason, like my life or my brain won't let you into what I'm doing right now because I'm not willing to sacrifice anything that I'm doing, no matter how trivial, even if it's going to the gym, to be with you right now. I enjoy going to dinner with you very much, but if I have to skip a gym session for it, I'm not there right now. Like I'm just not there. And it was hard to say out loud because it sounds dickish. And I still don't know how I feel about me. I said it the nicest way I could have, or we had a very conversation. And do we talk still? We're not like friends, but we do talk in passing. So it's very civil. But it was just like, yeah, I don't want you to feel like less for who you are because I'm prioritizing these things over you. But I'm in a flow right now and I'm doing really good. I'm not where I want to be. So if I let you into my life, I fear that I won't value myself. I won't what's the word I'm looking for? I won't be where I need to be happy with who I am, and that'll reflect on our relationship.
Yeah, man, I get it. I totally understand. I sleep like for the last, I don't know, 20 years.
Because
I've
of a
slept
kid, I
like,
can't even imagine, bro. Like a wife, a lot of
yeah,
responsibility. A
yeah.
kid, don't even get me started. I
Well, I
can't
mean,
even fathom. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's really important too. I had this conversation that I had about me saying my inner circle is very close and almost non-existent, is because I had two very good friends of mine that, or I consider them to be very good friends, but their whole life was rooted in content creation and influencing. And somewhat recently, we had a falling out where I didn't see their perspective, but I was just being as honest as I could be throughout the situation, explaining what came of my perspective, and that I was sorry that my actions had offended them. But and I met them with the same magnitude, right? I was like, "Oh, you feel greatly about this. I feel like it was whatever, but I'll meet you with the apology and the feeling of this was major. But just keep in mind, to me, I'll make sure that for you specifically in this friendship, I don't do things like that again, even though they're minor to me because they offend you greatly. So I won't do them anymore." But just know that's how I perceive things. And we had this crazy little falling out of because I don't see things the way they do, or I actually don't internally morally believe that it was that wrong, that like it's an issue. And they were like, yeah, it was weird because our whole friendship was based on just honesty and we've always disagreed and we were friends because we disagree. And that's great engagement, it's great interaction or discourse between the two of us. We share different opinions and we can still be friends. And I thought that was what's beautiful about our relationship. But yeah, I think to this day, if I lied, even threw a white lie out there in that situation, it would have resolved better and I still be friends with them now. But
Yeah.
I just have to my truth of truth, just be honest with everything. I actually have along the line of honesty is I have a bracelet on my left arm that's welded to me. And it's if I ever break a promise, I have to cut it off because I've never broken an actual promise to somebody. If I promise you something, like look you in the eyes and like, I promise you I'll do this, I've never broken a promise.
Man.
But I've been like, hey, Chad, I promise you I won't lose this game. I've definitely done that. But
Yeah.
like I promise you I won't XYZ. I've never broken a promise.
The thing I appreciate the most about you is your integrity. That your integrity is valuable to you. It's not it's not a currency you're willing to bargain. Like,
No,
because for
exactly.
so many people, integrity is, yeah, I don't know, man. Integrity is a slider, right? But just like you, bro. If I say I'm going to do it, you bet your ass I'm going to do it. And I'm going to
Yeah.
whole ass the whole thing.
I might not succeed, but I'll whole ass try if I say I'm going to do
Yeah,
something.
bro.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy who, like, I always make this joke with my daughter and my wife. I'm like, hey, man, whenever I'm dead, like, all I want on my tombstone, real simple, just put he tried and then that.
He
Like,
gave it his all. Yeah.
yeah, dude. Yeah. So on this podcast, we do an episode or a segment called Reroll. And what Reroll is like, we've taken notes about you. I'm going to still ask you, Martha and I are going to ask a few more questions about visualizing your digital identity. We take all of these pieces that we've gathered and we feed them to a bot, and the bot creates an image, and that's the first roll, is the image that it creates. And from there you get 2 opportunities to re-roll,
Okay.
and change anything you want about the picture. So you could say, like, I want to change the whole background or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
initial prompt is going to be generated from what we gathered about our episode with you.
Sounds great. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Okay,
How do we
cool.
start?
So before we get started, we're going to try something new on this version with you. We got a couple more questions that we want to ask you about visualizing. So what I want to do is like, if your face is out there today,
Mhm.
right? But if you were to create like an anonymous visual of your digital persona,
Yeah.
what would it look like? Could you describe that? Like, what does it look like to you?
If I had like you're saying like in like a VTuber model or like a
Sure.
if I was like a voice of God and I can only if I was like camless entirely, like what's the vibe?
This is a really deep question that you're asking me. If you're the voice of God, is a very deep question.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what's the vibe of this persona?
So, like, if you picture it in your head,
Mhm.
right? Like, it is because there's probably an idea of how it looks in your head. Could be a VTuber, right? You've probably thought about that a lot. But what does that look like to you in your mind? It doesn't
Okay.
have to be like super real. It doesn't have to like
Yeah.
represent you as a person. But like, what does it look like to you?
When I imagine like a personified version of me in like somewhere in the online space, I imagine it cartoon like, but not in the way of like a cyberpunk or like a Ready Player One. More so in like a cartoony way, something along the lines of an anime, more like a Naruto kind of thing. It's more in just the everyday, like the world is just personified in this style of cartoon. And my character plays the more of the role of like a stoic brother that's like very passive. And if you're gonna like draw me or dress me in a way, I think you can go for that performative male like library look where it's like a knit sweater and some jeans, or if there is this, this you want this like really crazy character, you can put on some robes or something. Give me some like sort of robes, not like a bathrobe. You know what I'm saying?
Like a wizard,
Yeah.
Harry?
Almost like a wizard without the hat.
Okay.
Whenever I create a character like an Elden Ring or something, it's always some sort of like stoic, peaceful looking guy and like and some mysterious robes. Though, like you know what I mean? Like the energy I give in a younger body is like the Genri Yusai Shigekuni Yamamoto, which is Captain Yamamoto of like Bleach. I'm nerding out right now, but I feel like that's the energy I give where it's stoic and like some sort of robes, but also he's like hella powerful. But he doesn't use it often, if ever.
So are you white haired or are you like have the dark hair? Because there's a couple different pictures.
You still
of
gotta
him.
have the like Indian dark hair of me. You still gotta have that like
Okay.
I still gotta look youthful in a way. Like 28, 27, like right where I am now.
So Captain Yamamoto from Bleach. Okay.
But a younger
Yeah.
Indian, he's almost like an Indian stallion instead of Yamamoto, but the same robes, same energy.
Okay, I got you, bro.
Mysterious, comforting, stoic.
What kind of a physical space would you be in?
Physical space. I was imagining some sort of like it's very like just scenery. It's just like waterfall, little butterflies, little lake with some grass side, just a full forest scene. Probably sitting on a rock, doing something performative, like reading a book. I don't even read books, but that's how I imagine myself. Some sort of nature backdrop. Definitely a waterfall though. Just something about the waterfall. I gotta be there. If it's an anime, I have to be near a waterfall. It's not dramatic enough.
You mentioned the library and a waterfall all together. Okay, we're just writing stuff down over here. We want to make sure we capture.
Okay, I'll just roll it while you're writing. Okay, so when people hear your name, what do you want them to picture, or what are you hoping that they'll picture? Like, and maybe it's not like a specific image, or maybe it's more like a vibe.
The same way I was kind of describing Quarter Jade earlier, I want them to like look when my name is said, I want people to like look up to me, but not in an intimidating way. In a way where they're like, I really like that guy, but I also feel like he's not putting himself on a pedestal above everyone else.
So you kind of want people to see themselves in you?
Whoa. This is a PG-13 podcast.
Whoa. You in them? Whoa.
I don't know if that's any better. Probably worse, actually.
We'll just cut that.
You want people to be like, hey man, Isaac's cool. I respect him. Like it's the respect.
He's still approachable. Yeah.
Yeah. Respectable and approachable.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you can interrupt me right now. Like I'm not above you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just a guy.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, feel free to interrupt me because I'm here for you.
This digital persona of yours, Does he have any kind of token props? Anything that like is always with
I
him?
want a
and always
really
has
cool
on
big
hand?
sword.
Okay.
No, just no like medieval ass sword. It's gotta be like some sort of curved blade. Like some sort of demon forged it.
A demon forged sword in one hand and a book in the other.
Yeah, I'm like a wizard warrior. Put the make the book like a spell book too. Make it like a nice flappy book that just folds open, like it's been used many times.
Very last thing, it doesn't necessarily have to be visual. It could lean like personality or it maybe just like something that you've learned or whatever. But if you could re-roll one trait about the digital persona that you have currently, what would it be and why?
I would re-roll my earlier days where I was less empathetic, but now I have a little bit more of room in the gray area where I'm more empathetic and be like, you don't have to like what I say, but it doesn't make me a bad person. I'm more like agreeable in like a conversational, constructive way. Like I'm not going to change who I am to suit your needs, but I understand why you don't agree with me. So I would say to re-roll the trait of being like strong-headed, way more peaceful with things. I'm down to be passionate, but not in like a conflicting way.
Okay, dude. I've got it all. I'm just finishing the setup, and you're about to have your mind melted.
Is it in the reroll gallery?
So he's gonna share his screen.
Okay.
The reroll gallery, we will drop it in there on the day that your episode goes live.
Cool. Oh, there's so many different art styles in here. Good job, AI.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah. Hey, Martha, yours is bizarre.
Bizarre.
Yeah. What
I
the?
love hers. Hers is like my favorite, actually.
That's
But yours is cool. You're like a rhino with a
I'm-
hammer. That's gangsters. What is this? Is there a frog on your shoulder?
That's Rhinoceros. Yeah, that's our editor. That is Angry Frogs on his shoulder, which he's coming out with a new album that is going to be a
Cool.
lo-fi album about angry frogs.
Oh, do you have like a template that all looks like the same, but it's just printed differently? I like that.
Yeah, well, so we used for this season. We're using that particular style with that template. So they all look like similar cards. We're about to try some wild stuff. Okay, Isaac. So I'm sharing my screen now. Key personality traits. Variety is the spice of life. Engaging, sweet, intelligent, high achiever, genuine, open book, emotionally intelligent, accountable, honest, stoic, passive, mysterious, comforting, respectable. Would focus on being empathetic when he was younger and be agreeable. Not going to change who I am, but going to understand and not trying to cause conflict. Preferred roles in gameplay. Entrepreneur, stand-up comedian, woodchopper in RuneScape, the tough love, honest friend, big brother. Favorite genres and worlds. RuneScape, Valorant, Call of Duty, Fortnite. Signature style or vibe. Sunny day. World is personified in the Naruto style. Knit sweaters and jeans. How what is it? Spell
Sound it
Naruto for
out.
me.
Sound it out.
I love this. I didn't even have
Perfect.
to start it. Last week when we recorded, it was 2-on-1. In fact, you
Everyone-
just picked right up on it.
This is why Martha's supposed to share her screen and do the editing. She's a much more articulate and I'm happy to write stuff incorrectly and know what I meant. Okay.
Muscular. Yes. Masculine. Yes. Keep going.
Forest, waterfall for sure. Reading a spellbook near a waterfall is the vibe. Visual inspiration, Naruto. Youthful Captain Yamamoto. Indian stallion, muscular, masculine, approachable. Must have a really big, cool sword, demon forged fantasy sword in one hand. Reading a big ancient spellbook in the other. All right, Isaac, are you
so excited? I don't know why I'm so excited. It's the best part of my day.
Let's do it. All right.
This is a very different art style from what we've seen before.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is cool.
I'm bald.
Damn it!
Well,
You
I mean,
spent all that money.
No, you're right.
It went after the Captain Yamamoto vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so
how do I get what does the reroll entail? How many things do I get to like say or change?
you can change. So what we're gonna do is we're going to jointly enter the next prompt, and we'll craft that together. You can change whatever you want to change, but you got to know that it's like rolling the dice, right? Because I have no idea what.
No, it might
GPT
change
will do.
everything entirely. Yeah, I agreed. Yeah.
Okay. So you start talking and I'll start typing.
The background is fantastic. I would like the character to be more Indian with a full head of hair.
Outfit wise, nothing. There's your
Um,
you,
I
you
think
got your
that's
spell
fine.
book.
Yeah, I think, but it's change the. It's honest. Anything else is just too nitty gritty. I think it'll change those things anyways. So like, you know
That's
what?
true. It could.
It could just randomize those things anyways.
Okay. All right. So
Um,
our current prompt is the background is fantastic. I love it. Don't change the background. I would like the character to be more Indian with a full head of hair.
yes,
Okay.
it's really. I mean, that once we get that narrowed down, I think I should be a little slimmer. I'm not that jacked. That's nice.
Okay.
But I think I should be. I think I should be more of an athletic build than a bodybuilder build.
Okay. Hold on. I'll
Uh,
also add that.
Like this is great. Like that's definitely ideal, but I'm not gonna get there anytime soon.
Well, I mean, you wrote we wrote masculine in the.
Yeah, it's
you
got
know.
hella masculine. Oh, I guess we should add more facial hair because technically, like I do have facial hair. Like I have a beard and stuff.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, I think the rest is all just too nitty gritty. I think it got the the gist of it.
Okay, so I'm going to read the prompt again. The background is fantastic. I love it. Don't change the background. I would like the character to be more Indian with a full head of hair. And please add more facial hair, a beard of the same color. I'm just going to please add a beard of the same color.
Hmm.
The character should also be more of an athletic build, slightly slimmer, less of a bodybuilder build.
Yes, agreed.
All right, this is your second reroll, Isaac. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's see what happens.
Are you smoldering?
He's
You know what?
masculine, dude. So for our audience who's listening, what you have is you have L2 Isaac standing here with his spell book, wearing a knit sweater. He is smoldering, staring off into the distance. And the waterfall behind him is just flowing and it's very beautiful, very warm. So your title, Isaac, is The Gentle Flame. An empathetic spell reader in a knit sweater, Indian warrior build, sword at rest, waterfall wisdom radiating from every calm breath.
I look like I just say the wrong thing. And I'm just casting a spell, and just boom, it's gone.
All right. So this is you're cool with this one. You like this one?
Holy aura, yeah.
Okay, bro. All right. The Gentle Flame. Okay, well, this brings us to the end of the show. We have one last question for you that I believe Martha is going to ask. And then we're going to turn the show over to you to say whatever you want to whoever you want for the last part of the show. And we'll finish it up.
All right. So we've asked you a lot of questions tonight. If your community was here and if they could ask you one question, what do you think they would want to ask you?
That's a tougher question. I think unprompted, my community defaults to two things: how are games and how are you today? Because they're just trying to be nice people and inquire on things. So they would probably ask me, "How are you today, Isaac? Are you streaming later today?" But I would hope they would ask, "Hey man, do you want my credit card?"
Hey man, can I gift 50 subs to your channel?
That would be a fantastic question. I truly think that they would actually say is, "Hey man, how is the podcast? Are you streaming later today?"
Well, I mean, are you?
No, I'll be at the gym. Plus,
Okay.
this podcast will come up 6 weeks later, so yeah, yeah. So it might be a lame answer, but I think that's truly what they would say because they are those kind of people. They care about what I was doing that day, and they care about when they can spend time with me next. So, I mean,
That's cool, man.
it's actually quite no, it's quite nice when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
that's
care
beautiful.
about what's going on in your day to day.
I used to find it quite annoying, and I still do, but my friend Indici gave me perspective on this. She said, think about your chat like you have 100 kids and they just came home from school and all they want to do is share their day with you and then kind of be with you and ask about what you're going to do later that day or what we're going to do later today. And when I thought of it like that, it really added a good perspective to me. Now obviously some of these guys are grown adults, but the mentality or the energy around that question or the way you have to approach that is like what I've started doing, and it's made me way less annoyed to answer how are you doing like 400 times a day.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful though. I mean, I think it's there's a lot of people who wish that 100 people would want to hang out with them like when they get home from work,
And it is a place of privilege too. Like people want to be where I'm at, and I always have to understand that even though I always am striving for more, there are people who are striving to be where I am. So yeah, it's a perspective thing.
All right, Isaac. So we're gonna finish the show by turning it over to you. Whatever you want to say to whoever you want to say it to. The floor is yours.
To anyone watching anyone's content, this podcast, mine, or anything, the biggest way you can help anybody is engaging with their content. If you enjoyed this, like the video, like the audio, whatever you gotta do, leave a comment is also amazing. If you enjoyed hearing what I had to say today, drop a follow on any social media. Every single number counts. A follow on Instagram, a single chat in my stream. I'm available to chat all the time, and I would just really appreciate if you are a long form enjoyer, come to the stream, come hang out. My stream is the place I want to grow the most this coming year. It's my goal to jump my stream numbers up to about an average of 200 to 300 viewers in a year, in this next year. So if you want to help me out in any way, shape, or form, that's where I'd like to see you. And if not, just continue doing you. And I hope this podcast helped you, gave you a smile, or just benefited you in some sort of way.
I love it, dude. That's beautiful. Thank you for being part of Gamertag, and thank you for coming on the podcast, Isaac. I had so much fun just hanging out and chatting with you, man. Thanks for coming on the show, dude. Man, that was L21saac, and honestly, what a ride. From RuneScape to Real Talk, this one hit all the beats. Funny, honest, and full of those little reminders about why we keep creating. Big thanks to L21saac for joining us on this episode. We are so grateful for the time and the stories he shared with us. And thank you to you for joining us tonight for this episode. Shout out to Martha Maple for keeping the chaos contained. And if you laughed, learned, or just vibed with this show, share it with a friend. Drop into our Discord and come be part of the community. I'm Scardo46, and thank you again for joining us on this episode of Gamertagged. We'll catch you in the next one.
Transmission ending. Goodbye.